During the course of the struggle of American people against European racism, brutality, and domination, many innovative thinkers have risen from our ranks. The greatest and most courageous scholars have devoted their lives to the pursuit of an explanation for the virtually inherent animosity most white people appear to have toward people of color. Unlike her predecessors, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, a brilliant Washington, D.C. psychiatrist, has rejected conventional notions about the origin and perpetuation of racism. Dr. Welsing's theories, lectures, and scientific papers have provoked controversy for over 20 years. Now, the compilation of her work in the ISIS papers is destined to change the course of history. Woman Song, welcome Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who will be with us Sunday, July 24th at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Welcome.
Supremacy for the past 44 years because I believe this behavioral system and phenomenon has been causing black people to be mentally ill. And whereas black people have talked about racism, people who classify themselves as white have talked about racism, but I maintain that heretofore it has been inadequately and insufficiently defined. And in my work, I look at racism as a specific behavioral system construct for the genetic survival of the tiny minority of people who classify themselves as white on this planet. That population is a genetic recessive population, meaning white skin is a genetic recessive trait. It's a mutation from black skin. And the white population, consciously and subconsciously, has been at war with the overwhelming majority of non-white people on the planet who are genetically dominant to themselves. And black people have the greatest genetic dominance, and they are feared in terms of white genetic annihilation. And this has meant that there has to be an attack on black people in general and black male persons in particular. And this has caused, I maintain that this dynamic power system is the cause of most of, if not all, of the mental health problems that black people face. And it is certainly the cause of a disturbance in the relationship between black male and black female persons. And as long as we don't understand this very powerful force, social, political, economic force that is hitting us, then the tendency is to blame each other for the problem. For example, if a male and a female were in a house together and somehow it was able from the outside to push the walls tighter and tighter together, then the people would be stressed in that environment, and if they didn't know that the walls were being pushed on them and they were sort of being crushed by an outside force, they would start fighting each other. Why are you touching me? And why don't you get out of my way and leave me alone? All that kind of discussion. Mm-hmm. And they might think that, each one thinks the other one is responsible for their respective stress. They don't understand that the walls are being pushed in upon them deliberately by an outside force.
Right.
So that may not be a perfect analogy, but in a sense that is what is happening to black people.
Right,
and
I understand.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I was saying I understand. And that is something that we do face with the Woman Song community when we're talking about issues of women and our responsibility in this society, specifics of our social responsibility without playing the blame game. but at the same time understanding that there is responsibility with the man, but we can only be responsible for ourselves, and if we make those changes within ourselves, then the men will follow suit. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it is imperative for all black people, black males and black females, as persons to understand what is happening to us, and so that we can directly take our energy and push back against what is crushing both of us.
Okay.
And as I said, we don't understand, because we don't understand racism, we haven't understood racism as a total system structure with a critical purpose, and that critical purpose is white genetic survival on this planet.
Okay.
Because we haven't understood at that level, then we don't understand how that force has to push against black people as a perceived threat to white genetic survival. In a sense, it's like President Barack Obama, and I maintain he doesn't really sufficiently understand racism, white supremacy, as I'm talking about it, and so he's there with the Congress pleading and begging that they take into consideration if the budget debt is not pushed higher, how people are going to be hurt. Black people, white people are going to be hurt. But the Congress and the conservative force in the Congress is really playing a game of white genetic survival. And they are angry with him because it's a black man in the White House, and whether this is conscious and or subconscious, he's talking about one thing and they're talking about something else altogether. They're talking about their survival as a white minority on this planet, which is a force that motivates all of their behavior.
Right. Okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay, so on Sunday, this coming Sunday, July the 23rd at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, we will have an opportunity to talk with and explore the ISIS papers and the Cress theory that will be utilized in our community to help better us and prepare us for the nation building that must be done. Thank you, Dr. Welsing, for sharing with us this evening, and I cannot wait to speak with you again on Sunday.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.